Why is it that there's a gun shop on almost every corner in this community? Why? Tell you why. For the same reason that there's a liquor store on almost every corner in the black community. Why? They want us to kill ourselves. You go out to Beverly Hills, you don't see that.
Started off poor with plans to own more. Now we own stores, the baddest. I was on tour with that so raw. Started selling, we won't sell it no more. Like Trump ain't feeling us, cops still killing us. Taking shots can't stop me, they ain't real enough. Cut her off, act like she dead and it's killing her. New dawn, earn my seats, I left the ceiling up just to kill him softly. Ooh, get him on me, try to crucify me like I'm Jesus. The way she crossed me, I'm too bossy and too thorough to move like a weirdo, on point like an arrow. We started out with zero, now I'm seeing M's. Diamonds like water and they jumping out the gym. Shooting like Harden if your head was the rim. Wanna line me like a shape up in a trim down. Back when I was broke, they was cool with it. Now every move I make, I'm in the news with it. Even if I ain't do it, they be like, you did it. My teacher always used to tell me you gon' lose. That's why I never went to school. And why I'm rapping like I got something to prove. When they bought the mansion with the...
What up, though, everybody? It is your girl, Auntie Nessa. Let me make sure my mic sound nice. Check one. My mic sound nice. Check two. All right, guys. We are back with Support Real Men, and I want to shout out right now all of the men that is out there that's doing their thing, that's on the grind, that's handling their business, that's supporting their families, that's helping these young kings, you know, being a village to them, that's got something to say important, that's respecting their queens, that's respecting all women. You know, we thank you. And let me see what I got for y'all. Just for real, one more time. That's what I got for y'all. All right. I love it. I thank you. This show is dedicated to you guys. You know, and I just want to hear the young voices. I want to hear the men that actually got something to say. I want people that is really interested in how we can make a difference, how women and men can come together, how men can, you know, help into being that community for young men that's out here crashing out. Like, what can we do? How can we make changes? I am not a man, but this is my platform for men because I respect men. And I have my brother who is Marquis. Oh, let me not say that because that's his young his young name. But you know what? Mark the Barber. That's who he is. And he's given us that real barbershop talk on top of just his knowledge. He's an amazing person and came from the trenches, brought his, you know, built his life, got beautiful children. So I am about to bring him to the panel and he is going to give it to us raw, unfiltered, but he's going to make sure that it passes. the guidelines. Okay. All right. Without further ado, my brother Mark the Barber.
What's up, everybody? How y'all
You got
doing?
another one. All right.
What it
All
is?
right. Thank you so much, bro. I totally appreciate it. I know that you were pretty busy. Hold on, I might have to move my camera a little, but this camera's so weird because if I move it, it might get crooked. So let me see if I can just sit up a little bit. All right, all right. So I am excited. I thank you so much for being here with me. And, we both had the same mindset on a lot of things, and we may not on some things, but I know the number one thing is that you're going to keep it 100, and that's what's important. So I want everybody to be able to hear your voice and for them to know that I'm just a squirrel in your world with the
Okay.
Support Real Men show. So, if you don't know, and if this is your first time here, I just want you to know we show video clips. I do research, make sure it's not AI generated. If it is AI generated, I will definitely let you guys know. I also have banners where I put up information that I've researched, and you can also do your own research. And we're just about planting seeds, and we're also about getting the word out and educating. So, everything that I show, all the video clips, the different conversations, it's our opinions, and it is for educational purposes. Also, the things in the banner is mostly everything that is factual and researched. Okay. All right. Without further ado, the topic today we're discussing is the Great Regression. And the Great Regression, and what we're going to be discussing is we have we know that we are in an integrated society now, and our elders came from a society where it was more separated and segregated. And there are on both sides people that do not agree with the integration, as well as who are starting to try to go back into segregation. And, you know, I want to just show how, like, with real percentages of what we as a people in, what where we are, and the percentages of the different positions, careers, and power, where we stand right now, and will we be able to, with those people that's in those positions, will we be able to actually create another Tulsa, or just segregate and connect with one another to have those resources from, the people that want segregation or want to make a change or whatever it is, or will we be dependent on the government and the different, people that is trying to keep us in trying to keep us enslaved, I should say, on a modern level. I'm just, listen, I got a strike the other time, with not a strike, but a warning. And I'm just trying to choose my words because it's say free speech, but it's not really free speech, if you know what I mean. Some people can get away with saying whatever they want, but some people got to tiptoe through this social media thing, unfortunately, in order for us to be able to, create, a audience without getting hidden in the algorithm. So I'm gonna really need y'all to help out and subscribe and start to comment on, these different videos. Okay. All right. With that being said, I'm going to allow Mark. What you want me to just continue to call you Mark the Barber? You want to say Markayla as well, Marky? Because I had said Marky, and I was like, oh, he might kill me for saying that, saying your little young name when you was young, and I gave you the little hugs when you was.
It's
No,
simple.
just kidding.
Well,
But
I mean, but that's what the name is. I got it titled. As long as you put the D
okay.
behind it, you're great.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to let and I want to brand him as Mark the Barber because that is his, stage name with everybody as well as him being a barber, but I'll let him introduce himself. So take it away.
Yeah. My name is initially government wise Markayla Howell. But people call me Mark because that is my business name. I am a master barber. I've been a master barber for 15, going on 16 years now. I'm also a certified barber instructor, here in Tennessee, Clarksville, Tennessee, of 8 years now. Uh, and I've been here in Clarksville, Tennessee for uh, well, a good 9 years. And it's been lovely down here for me thus far with my encounter of, you know, different variety of people, here where I live in a military town and I get, an abundance of different people where, all ethnicities, you know, not just because I'm a master barber, because when you're a master barber, that's what you experience, because your training consists of that. But just living in a military town in general, you know what I mean? It's basically geared on how they experience, once they go in, and they enlist. It's their variety of, experience of each other, especially those that go to war or whatever, which is ironic you bring up barbershop talk because a lot of everything that we do in this show is basically, you know, I mean, plethora of topics, you know.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
yeah,
And I'm excited for them to hear your mind cuz you always be having me like fighting the air in a good way. So guys, we're going to get to this first video, and thank you so much. Thank you for that amazing introduction of yourself and for people to get to know you, since you will be, my co-host on here for however long the duration of Support Real Men or whatever it may be. And maybe you will be the host and I can fall back. So I'm excited either way. And this
well,
is
that's
season
exciting.
two. This is season two, everybody, of Support Real Men. So if you have not seen season one, please go check that out on This Is Insane podcast, and all the links will be at the bottom of the screen later, before we end. All right. So this video was taken in 1955. It was a group of young men. I do believe that there was a documentary made of their area and a different way of life, and they pretty much live in the ghettos of America in 1955. And what I like about this is just being able, because I did watch it. My brother watched it, so this is the first one that we watched. And I do want to say these young men, they're teenage men, and their mindset is definitely radical and militant. And, they were actually living in the times of where it was extremely hard to have a voice, but they were brave enough to do so. So I want y'all to check this out and then we'll discuss it after.
As I was going back to see, he pointed out for me to, I could go back when I want to. Go back to where? Huh?
Go any place you like.
Go anywhere
Sir,
you
could you
want.
stand up? We can't hear you. Could you stand up over there by the
You
microphone?
mean to Africa? Do you mean to Africa? Do you mean to Africa? We are not Africans no more. You have our great grandmothers and stuff and changed us. Finish. Let me finish. And gave us a name as a Negro. I am not a Negro. A Negro is a person with a slave at the man. I just want to tell you that. And don't say nothing else to me.
Sir?
My name is Reginald Dobbs. I live at 3319 Maple, one of the ghettos areas that was pointed out in the film. I'd like to direct a question to Reverend Mitchell. Do you think that we will be satisfied with the jobs they are giving us?
Yes, son, I think so. Simply because we are asking that you be trained on the job, and they start you off with a certain salary starting rates, and you would be promoted up to the maximum
No,
of the job.
I don't believe that. The white man is gonna keep you where he got you. You're not going no higher than he wants you to go. And we ain't gonna settle for nothing but all the way. About this violence and non-violence, I'm for violence. Because we have pleaded for the last 400 years.
Mr. Meek said you did not speak for him. How would you talk to a young boy like that?
Well, I would say I would definitely have to use the Bible, Mr. Dillon.
No, I don't hear that.
Well, this is my own way.
I ain't no Uncle Tom.
Well,
See,
salvation.
you
is
can't
free, son.
brainwash me.
Jesus said, first
Okay.
you seek the kingdom of heaven and his righteousness, and all of these things will be added.
Heaven is on earth, mind you, brother.
Where you gonna go when we start revolution? Whose side are you gonna be on? Are you still gonna be on your knees begging for us jobs?
I was, as Mr. Meek said, he wouldn't just die standing on his feet rather than to die on his knees. I will die standing up for God, regardless of any circumstance.
Okay. Have God ever told you to let this white man rule you like he is?
Well, young man, you first must be born again. God is a
No, I
spirit.
ain't born again. I ain't got to be born again. See, I was born in a new generation. Your mother could have brainwashed you, but can't nobody brainwash me. I'm ready. It's gonna take young boys like us to win the revolution.
The white peoples realized today that they was wrong for enslaving the Negro. The great man, let me finish. I'll wait. Why, if you so militant and so intelligent, why don't you keep your mouth shut?
I'll tell you why, Reverend Mitchell, because I'm sick and tired of you standing up there on a television camera, a black man with a white heart and a white face. You're a black man.
Woo, man, that was extremely powerful for so many reasons. I'm gonna say this, and then I'm gonna let you have it. That did you not notice that they did not use profanity at one time to get their point across? Not one time did they use profanity, and everything they said was like so profound. That was amazing to me. That was extremely amazing to me. These young teenage boys stood up for themselves, for their community, for their rights, and it was no fear in their heart. I'm gonna have to let you go ahead and you finish off, bro.
Uh, I have several students that are on that level of thinking, or former students, I should say. They're now going uh, for their state license in barbering. But as I got to know them as my students, and they were in their early 20s, compared to those young men. I don't know how old they were. I'm pretty sure they were like in their teens back then, because they were serious back then, because they were going through something that was, you know, forced upon them to have to do so, to be that serious. But the young cats that I speak to, that call me from time to time, we speak on this level. I, sidebar, them um whenever they want to approach me on some life talk.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? Serious talk. if family, kid, because some of them have kids, but it was, a couple of them that speak in the same context as
That
those
was
young men
that was fire.
in that video. Mr. Mark, you can't believe it. No, mind you, they haven't gone through any, what I'm saying, degree of what those young men were going
Mm-hmm.
through then,
Yeah.
but with their knowledge, them us conversing, their knowledge of that history and how passionate they are to speak on today's condition as a young person that don't sag, that speaks with tact,
Mm.
uh, dignity, uh, pride of who they are as a black young male in America, and not afraid or ashamed to feel that way while speaking, and know that they're speaking to an elder statesman with this type of knowledge, not understanding them having an old soul type of deal at this point. I'm pretty sure they were told that, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
how you have to correct them at some point where they get too caught up into what they believe in, yada yada yada. Because again, they haven't gone through what those young men have gone through.
Right.
They just understand our conditions right now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm half their age, so when they get my age, they will understand why they will have to be corrected with the passion that they had conveying whatever message and what they had to, want to relate to me when they want to talk to me, you know what I mean, and converse with me, like in that context. So when
Yeah.
I come at them with this mind that you say that I have, a lot of them are really uh more so open minded than reading a book, because I always start off with my birthday, which is the same as Malcolm X. So,
Yes. All
and
right now.
I always let them know that he's my favorite of all that spoke to our people, fought for our people. You know what I'm saying? And during that time in that video, that term revolution, um, that just says Black Panther to me, though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
For sure.
So when you ask me, I mean, this is why I don't do panel discussions, because to me it's a waste of time. You my sis, and I've been watching you from afar for a minute,
Thank
so
you.
I know
And
where
you know
you're
where I
going.
come
So
from. You know,
exactly.
like
So
my
it
mind
will make
from then
sense.
till now.
Exactly. So it will make sense to be here with you to discuss certain things, because to me it's a waste of time if everybody want to sound the most intellectual, like my man
Right.
standing in front of you talking about he would rather die standing up for God. He didn't say his people, he said for God. You did.
Yeah, and
I'm
I have
sorry.
something to say. I have something to say about that because I do want people to know, and everybody do know that I am a Christian woman, and I'm not going to change that. Nothing's going to deter me from that religion or whatever it may be because of my how I feel when I have a connection supernaturally or spiritually. However, that man was the 501 3C man. He was not, to me, he was the I have to there's several different people who, like Christian nationalists, people that follow the way, and the way doesn't really have the Christian title. That's a different thing. And then Christianity, which is some people like him is can we just get along, and they're backing up my 501c3, so I'm gonna need to not say what I need to say, and that's the problem. Okay, but and I get what you're saying, and I want everybody to be able to, I don't care where you stand with whatever religion, I'm open to you and everyone having a platform on my show. That's just
Right.
me. So, but when I heard him, I cringed for a number of reasons because of the fact that he wasn't really listening to the young black men.
Exactly.
That wasn't that time to even say that. It was something else that he could have said
Exactly.
that even was where he was still able to get his point across about who he is and how he represent God without having to say it the way he said it in front of that audience. But I totally understand what you were saying because at that time, those days and those times were some of not the beginning, but that was the time where it was that period of they still wasn't free and they was pushing so hard to get out of that hole, and people that was able to have a voice were finding crosses on their their lawns. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Or
Yeah, that's half-ass free. That's being
yeah, it
half-ass
was
free, you know?
absolutely. So just think about it. That was 1955, and who was birthed up out of that? The Black Panther Party. That was the 60s coming in. So they were birthed out
Yeah.
of what those young men, how they felt. But okay, because we, you know how we do it. We still got okay. So guys, that was just the beginning, and we were just wanting to show you guys that mindset back in the day, and that mindset of we don't care if we integrate. We want to be free by any means necessary. So if we got to,
Yeah.
you see what I'm saying? So
Yeah. Yeah.
now we're gonna show a video, and I hate to say it. This was so horrible. But check this out.
We begin tonight with a judge who makes life-altering decisions for families and those with disabilities, now accused of making racist comments and using shocking, derogatory language. Thank you for joining us for 7 News Detroit at 6. I'm Mike Duffy. 7 investigator Heather Catallo joins us now with more about why an Oakland County probate judge has been removed from her docket. Heather?
Mike, a high-ranking probate court official says he's been recording Judge Kathleen Ryan's statements for years. Even though probate court administrator Edward Hutton says he's been harassed by Judge Ryan, he says he does not want this to be about him. Hutton says he's coming forward now because he wants to protect the people who have to face Judge Ryan in the courtroom.
The Honorable Kathleen A. Ryan presiding.
Good morning. You may be seated.
After more than 13 years on the bench, Oakland County Chief Probate Pro Tem Judge Kathleen Ryan is out of her courtroom. Chief Probate Judge Linda Hallmark removed Judge Ryan from her docket last week, announcing that a complaint about internal allegations of unprofessional conduct was sent to the Judicial Tenure Commission. Judge Ryan was arrested in 2021 for domestic violence, but those charges were later dismissed. And now she's back in the headlines.
Well, if you're black from any other country, you're doing way better. If you're an American black person, then you're a lazy piece of.
The 7 investigators have obtained the recordings that county officials say prompted Judge Ryan's removal.
Oh, he's just I have no use for him.
She's made it a living hell in the past 6 years. I mean, it's been terrible. It's cost me relationships. I think it's affected my health. Can't sleep.
Attorney Edward Hutton is the Oakland County Probate Court Administrator. He's in charge of running everything that's not under the judge's purview inside one of the state's largest probate courts. Hutton alleges Judge Ryan has been calling him both during work and after hours for years. And Hutton says during those hours and hours of calls, Judge Ryan said highly inappropriate things.
Why did you start recording the calls?
I just felt like it wasn't going to change. Nothing's manipulated in it. It's conversations that I was a part of, and I'm absolutely willing to testify to the authenticity of every single one of them.
I can honestly say that, okay, I'm not systemically racist, I'm a new racist. I never was, but now I am because you're shoving the down my throat and making allegations that you don't know about. You're telling me who I am and you've never met me. You. You.
Hutton says the judge also used homophobic slurs about other elected officials.
You know,
And that's not all.
A lot of times they were conversations about sexual encounters that she's having with various individuals, I mean, in intimate detail.
Hutton says for years he felt like he had to play along, and he says for years he was afraid to speak up.
I didn't want to lose my job, and I didn't want to be in her crosshairs. It's such a David and Goliath situation. I don't have the power. I'm not elected. I could get fired tomorrow.
On May 24th, Hutton says he sent Chief Judge Linda Hallmark a notice of sexual harassment.
For 3 months, nothing happened.
That's why on August 22nd, Hutton says he decided to send the recordings to the Chief Justice of the state Supreme Court, Oakland County Executive David Coulter, and other public officials. And he also contacted me.
I just want to make it right. I haven't filed a lawsuit. I'm not looking for a payday. I want to keep my job and do it in peace. And I want the people in Oakland County that come to court to get a fair shake, to have their day in court, to have an unbiased trier of fact.
In that email, Hutton said Judge Ryan, quote, has vocalized her hate and contempt for various protected groups. Once the recordings were shared with those state and county officials, Judge Ryan was removed from her docket. In a statement, County Executive Coulter said, quote, there is absolutely no place for harassment of any kind or for racist or homophobic language by anyone at Oakland County, especially by someone the public must be confident will act fairly and impartially. The alleged conduct and abhorrent comments made by Judge Ryan merited her removal from the probate court docket pending further investigation.
Is Judge Ryan fit to be on the bench?
Absolutely not. Nobody with that much hate in their heart for certain people or certain groups of people, I don't believe that they could possibly make fair, unbiased decisions regarding them.
I did reach out to Judge Kathleen Ryan to talk to her about this. Her attorneys sent me this statement that says, quote, we respect the authority of the Michigan Supreme Court. However, we look forward to vindicating Judge Ryan in the appropriate forum. I also spoke to probate judge Daniel O'Brien. He says Judge Ryan's friends are supporting her and believe these statements are totally out of character for her.
All right, certainly a lot here, but what's next with the Judicial Tenure Commission?
Well, they cannot confirm or deny whether they are pursuing an investigation. There has been some reporting that suggested that the complaint against the judge involved an inappropriate personal relationship. Hutton says that is not true. He says there was no physical contact. This was strictly a sexual harassment complaint about her alleged comments that started all of this. But again, he says the bigger issue here is what the judge says about people in protected classes, and he's hoping that that is what the JTC will focus on. So everybody's just sort of waiting to see what they will do.
And it sounds like this is in its early days. We know that you're going to stay on top of it, so
we will follow it.
Appreciate it.
Okay. Bruh, that's our home state. But we already know how Michigan get down. Now, while we are on here, I do want to send once again my condolences to everyone who was affected by the Grand Blanc tragedy. My condolences to everyone who have lost someone, just who were victims, just by being 6 degrees of separation in the situation, whatever it may be. I am extremely, extremely sorry about that. That just saddens me. So I wanted to get that out the way because that, that's something that just happened and it's still fresh in my heart. But we know how Michigan gets down. And the messed up part is that the reason why this is part of the Great Regression also is these people are really trying to put us back into that water fountain, that water fountain, like separate the water fountains again. You know what I'm saying? And you can tell by all of the different situations that's been happening if you've been really paying attention. So some of these clips I wanted to kind of show some of the people in power and positions that have the authority to make changes, to sway other people in power, whatever it may be, how they feel about certain classes, certain genders, certain ethnicities, whatever it may be. And one of them was, of course, Black Americans. If you're a Black immigrant, if you're African American, a Black immigrant, or whatever, that may be different because you come over and you got a work ethic. But if you were born on this soil and you Black American, if you know what I'm saying, then it's a different story. You're labeled as lazy. That's exactly what she said. That's what came out this woman's mouth on a recording. I am so glad that that man stood up. You know what I'm saying? And then come to find out she has friends that pretty much got her back. What type of friends she got? We don't know. They didn't disclose that. So what's your thoughts on that video?
What else is new? Us expect and expect nothing less or more. I've seen plenty of
Detroit.
videos like that. You dig what I'm saying? I've seen plenty of videos like that in other regions
What,
where
let,
they
let
were
me say
recorded and exposed.
let me say one more thing for those that don't understand and know about Detroit. Detroit is top 10 for the most black Americans in the city. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh wow. Okay. Well,
Yeah, we top 10
yeah. See.
with the most black people. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. But when it comes to Detroit, though, you have more history of success than those growing pending stats, of all that negative stereotypes of us. It's thrown in our face frequent, so of course it's going to be overwhelming because the media has the power, but it still can't disguise or mask the history of positivity and success that Detroit stands on. You know what I'm saying? And it's mainly us. You know what I'm saying? So that lazy part, well,
That's
I
crazy
guess,
work.
okay, so then let's just say forget Motown then, because all that was just was lazy than a mug, you know what I mean?
Right.
So type of deal, yeah. Because it's like regular blacks are the most thriving because they don't need entertainment. So you got the automotive industry. The majority of the automotive industry was based on us moving from the south to the northern region. So a lot of us were successful uh blacks that were basically middle class. You know what I'm saying? And uh we had both mother and father in the home. Um we have the value and the morals, that we saw on Leave It to Beaver. You know what I mean? And during that time, you know what I'm saying? So, uh, I don't, like I said, I expect, you know what I'm saying, people like her because on that stand, it's just a front. They got their what is that called in the back? The office that they got in what they're called in the back, but they got back there. See, that's the type of stuff my man was recording in the back.
Yeah. Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's what matters more. Not
Yeah.
her sitting
What
up
they
there with the gown on
Yeah.
with the gavel in her hand. You get what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
For
Because that
sure.
apology, that fake ass apology,
Yeah.
like to draw up that apology as perfect as you try to cover up what's already blatant shows how reliable the just judicial system is for the minority.
And I'm so and it's messed up because of the fact that Michigan is also one of the places where they privatized prisons early, and they were trying a lot of different things when it came to the prison system back in the day. And it's always been like that. What you call it, the experiment. Like that state has always been an experiment. But
Right.
we'll go to the next clip. This is piggybacking pretty much almost off of that, but it's really sad.
Tonight, hours after Omaha celebrated hometown boxing champ Bud Crawford's accomplishments with a parade, he's pulled over by Omaha police, setting off a social media firestorm. Good evening, I'm Brian Mastry.
And I'm Zena Taher. Today is Bud Crawford's birthday. He turned 38. What happened at the traffic stop early this morning in downtown Omaha is now the subject of an internal investigation at the police department.
First Alert 6 reporter Andrew Pfeiffer tonight with reaction from the mayor and Omaha police. He also talked to one of the people in Crawford's vehicle, and Andrew joins us live in the newsroom. Andrew?
Brian, Zena, new details emerging from an incident early this morning surrounding Terrence Bud Crawford and his security team. It escalated to a point where guns were drawn by police. Now, just over the weekend, a parade was held for the pound-for-pound champ. He was awarded the second key to the city from Mayor John Ewing. But later that night, that celebration turned to fear for those inside the vehicle pulled over just a couple blocks from where the party was held. Police say they pulled over a vehicle for reckless driving at around 12th and Cass. Once they had stopped, Crawford was identified as the driver. According to police, officers observed a firearm on the floorboard on the driver's side. All four people, including members of Crawford's security team, were ordered out of the vehicle at gunpoint. I spoke with the head of Crawford's security this afternoon, who says he's still shaken up.
I thought we were getting ready to lose our lives. That was a nightmare. Future husband, just had a brand new child and, children and stuff like that. And to know that I almost lost my life last night because we had a police officer that don't know how to articulate a traffic stop.
Thankfully, nobody was hurt, and Crawford was issued a citation for reckless driving. All the firearms inside the vehicle were also all legally owned. In a statement from the mayor today, it reads, quote, "I learned Omaha police pulled over Terrence Bud Crawford on a traffic stop downtown early this morning. After learning of this, I spoke personally to Bud Crawford. I acknowledged the seriousness of what occurred and how trust between law enforcement and our community is important and shows the need to be continuously vigilant about building relationships." Now, for that full quote, you can visit our website at firstalert6.com. Tonight at 10, I will have the full.
Bro, I literally did not watch this video because I wanted to experience it with you. I'm trying not to be PO'd. I'm trying not to. This man just won. He has a beautiful black family. Like, you seen his family? His with all of his beautiful kids. I mean, he has a okay, I don't want to sound like this, but for him to be in sports, he has a full-blooded sister with full-blooded dark-skinned kids, dark-skinned woman. You could tell they all from the trenches. He been with her for a long time. He got like 6 kids. You know what I'm saying? Like, he ain't go out here and just, thotting it around with somebody that's exotic, or he could tell probably want his money, but she pretty. You know what I'm saying? Like, his character, everything from what I've been reading and what people been saying. Clarissa was there. Clarissa Shields and Omari Hardwick was there on the ride with him when I watched the parade. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's the same exact day as the parade, and it's his birthday, and he He just won for his city. Man, that's crazy work. And everything was legitimate. Why would they put guns on him knowing that he's a public figure? They know who he is, and then they know that he have to protect himself. They know that they didn't say nothing about weed. They didn't say he was drunk. Man, you already see what they doing. They trying to we know what they doing. What they trying to do is say, you ain't gonna never. Let's go back to that 1955 video when the young black.
Buck breaking.
Yes, like we gonna allow you to get as high as we want you, but we gonna also show you who's in control. We gonna make sure you know we're in control. So now these young men, just like he said, he just had a child. Now people don't understand the trauma that comes with that. They just look at it and be like, oh, they some strong black dudes. They can handle it. All of that comes with PTSD, trauma, all that. A gun don't have, like, you just pull the person on the other side might not even know how to handle the gun. So you already worried about if they can make sure that they control it or not, and they got it pointed at you. That's crazy work to me. I was hot when I just seen that. I literally did not watch that because I said, let me see. That's one bruh. Oh gosh. Okay. What's your thoughts on it? My bad. That was a rant.
No, that's typical, even in entertainment. It don't matter what we want. It don't matter who we married to. It don't matter. You know what I mean?
Nothing.
Like the previous video said, you get so far up. You know what I mean? We don't also another spectrum of it. We don't know previously what the issue was, or what I'm saying, has been with the mayor prior to all of this, for the mayor to come out and say something like how he said, that sounds like a cover up, you know what I'm saying? Where he
Mm-hmm.
orchestrated it, you know what I'm saying? It could have been, you know what I mean? You never know where it all leads back to, you know what I'm saying? All we know is Bud didn't deserve none of that just for a basic traffic stop, like my man said. The
Absolutely.
police officers couldn't articulate that, where you see a gun on the ground, but you also see a world champion
Right.
driving around, who is a driver who has to have
And he the
high flight
driver.
security. You know what I'm saying? And he got to have security around him, and that's who was around him, and obviously that's who had a firearm down there. So if a
Yeah.
traffic stop being a traffic stop, let it be a traffic stop. If it escalate to that, then okay. But that wasn't the case. And that's why it's in the news, in the media like that.
And you
But
know what's
again,
so
it don't
oh, go
matter.
ahead. That's
It don't
right.
matter who we are. It don't matter who we are. It don't matter who we married to. It
It
don't matter
definitely you
who
right.
your birthday, the parade, or the
But
Belgian one again.
that's showing that it don't matter right there. This man just won a championship, and the same exact day he got off of his little boat, his little Budweiser boat, whatever they float on. It's his birthday. He feeling good, and all he did was drive fast. And all of that had to escalate. That's crazy work. Okay, we're going to get to this last video, guys. Y'all, see, my brother's so emotionally intelligent, because I tell you, and I love that. I love that
I'm learning to calm my
I know,
emotions with
right?
my intelligence. And I get too Tupacish and
I
Charleston
know.
Whiteish for him.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
last season, y'all need to watch last season, yo. Y'all want to see him crash out? He was crashing out last season. Okay, let's watch this last clip.
Daniels is an American whiskey brand from Tennessee, founded by Jasper Newton Jack Daniel in the late 19th
Hey,
century.
hold on.
Jack Daniels is an
Okay.
American whiskey brand from Tennessee, founded by Jasper Newton Jack Daniel in the late 19th century.
Okay, because evidently they just went to it. Let me tell y'all, I don't know if y'all know, but this video
Thank you,
is
real
about all of the major corporations who actually had a lot to do with slavery. They funded it. They were a part of it. They had slaves, and they are some of the most major corporations today that we pretty much give our money to. Okay? All right.
As a teenager, he learned distilling from Dan Call and his master distiller Nathan Nearest Green, an enslaved African-American man from Maryland. Green developed a unique charcoal mellowing process that made his whiskey stand out among 60 nearby distilleries. After slavery was abolished, Daniel invited Green to help start his own company. Evidence of Green as Jack Daniel's first head distiller was confirmed in 1972, and the company officially acknowledged his role in 2016. Today, Green's descendants work at the distillery, and the brand honors his legacy in tours, highlighting that Daniel paid black and white workers equally for the same work. JP Morgan Chase, the largest bank in the US, traces some of its history to its predecessors, Citizens Bank and Canal Bank, which were later absorbed into its structure. In the 1800s, these banks routinely accepted enslaved people as collateral, meaning slaveholders used human lives as security for loans. If plantation owners failed to repay, the banks seized ownership of those enslaved individuals. The banks also directly funded plantations that relied on slave labor. Between 1831 and the Civil War, around 13,000 enslaved people were used this way, and the banks ultimately took possession of over 1,000. In 2005, JP Morgan Chase became the first major financial company to publicly acknowledge its direct ties to slavery, issuing an apology and admitting the profits gained through the system. The company also pledged $5 million in scholarships, but many have viewed this as insufficient. Other American banks like Bank of America or Citibank have a similar history. Brooks Brothers, founded in 1818 and the oldest American apparel brand still in operation, was directly tied to the slave economy. In the pre-Civil War era, the company supplied clothing for enslaved people, with slave owners purchasing garments for both daily labor and for presentation at auction houses. Brooks Brothers provided top-of-the-line slave clothing. That's how they called it, distinguishing it from cheaper alternatives used by traders. The brand also profited from the Southern cotton trade, as its clothing relied on slave-produced cotton. While the brand also catered to wealthy clients and became known for dressing Abraham Lincoln, who wore a Brooks Brothers coat the night he was shot, its role in outfitting enslaved people remains a part of its early history. Brooks Brothers has not fully acknowledged these ties to slavery. Domino Sugar traces its origins to Havemeyer, Townsend & Co. Refinery, which in 1859 processed sugar produced by enslaved labor in Louisiana and the Caribbean. In 1882, the refinery was rebuilt as the nation's largest, and under Henry O. Havemeyer, it reorganized in 1891 into the American Sugar Refining Company, a near monopoly that soon controlled most US refining. In 1901, Domino was introduced as the flagship consumer brand. Today, Domino Sugar is owned by the Fanjul brothers, whose plantations and related companies have faced repeated criticism for abusive working conditions described as modern slavery. In 2022, US Customs blocked sugar imports from Centro Romana Corporation, a Fanjul-linked company in the Dominican Republic, citing forced labor indicators, but the company denied the allegations. Nike's slavery controversy comes from decades of criticism over sweatshop conditions, child labor, and modern forced labor in its supply chain. Starting in the 1970s, Nike outsourced production to factories in Korea and Taiwan, prioritizing low costs over labor standards. Reports through the 90s exposed workers facing long hours, poverty wages, unsafe conditions, and harassment, with a 1996 Life magazine feature showing Pakistani children stitching Nike soccer balls, drawing worldwide outrage. In Vietnam, one Nike contracted factory exposed workers to toxic chemicals, while factories in other countries reported harassment and intimidation. Despite adopting a code of conduct and releasing transparency reports, critics argue Nike hasn't done enough. More recently, Nike has been tied to allegations of forced labor in China's Uyghur region. A 2020 report identified Nike supplier Qingdao Taekwang employing hundreds of transferred Uyghur workers. Though Nike claimed it ended sourcing from Xinjiang and no Uyghur workers remain at the factory, human rights groups continue to press the company for greater transparency. The Ivory Coast cocoa controversy. In 2021, 8 men from Mali, who said they were forced to work on cocoa plantations in Ivory Coast, filed a lawsuit against major chocolate companies, including Nestlé, Cargill, Mars, Hershey, and Mondelez. They accused the companies of knowingly profiting from child slavery in their supply chains. The case also highlighted the 2001 Harkin-Engel Protocol, where chocolate companies pledged to phase out the worst forms of child labor but were accused of misleading the public. Ivory Coast produces about 45% of the world's cocoa, and the industry has long been tied to child labor and mistreatment. The plaintiffs described being lured with false promises of paid jobs, then forced to work under threats of starvation in horrid conditions. In July 2025, a U.S. appeals court dismissed the case, ruling the plaintiffs had not shown a direct link between their forced labor and the specific farms supplying cocoa to the companies, even though the accused companies collectively buy around 70% of Ivory Coast's cocoa. Yale University, one of the oldest and most prestigious schools in the US, carries deep ties to slavery. Elihu Yale, for whom the university was named in 1845, built his fortune as a governor and president of the East India Company, which was directly involved in the slave trade. Many of Yale's early founders and later leaders owned slaves, and enslaved labor contributed to the construction of buildings like Connecticut Hall, as well as the wealth of Yale's benefactors. In 2017, after years of criticism, Yale renamed Calhoun College, originally honoring pro-slavery politician John C. Calhoun, to Hopper College. In 2020, the Yale and Slavery Research Project under historian David Blight launched, documenting over 200 enslaved people connected to the university. In February 2024, Yale issued a formal apology acknowledging its role in slavery. Tiffany & Company, the American luxury jewelry house, founded in New York in 1837 by Charles Tiffany and John B. Young, was built on profits tied to slavery. The company's seed money came from Charles Tiffany's father, who financed the store with money earned from a Connecticut cotton mill. The mill relied on cotton grown in the South by enslaved labor. By 1853, Charles Tiffany took full control and shifted the focus to jewelry, but the company's foundation and early growth were directly connected to the cotton trade. Lehman Brothers was an American investment bank founded in 1850. Back then, the company profited from the Southern cotton trade, which relied on enslaved labor. Mayer Lehman, one of the founding brothers, personally owned at least 7 slaves. The Lehman Brothers began accepting raw cotton from plantations as payment for goods, later turning it into a major trading business and directly financing plantation operations. A 2003 statement confirmed that the 3 founding brothers owned slaves. The bank's historical ties to slavery sparked criticism for lack of transparency. Although Lehman collapsed in 2008, some of its assets were later acquired by British bank Barclays and Japanese bank Nomura. New York Life, today the largest mutual life insurance company in the US, was founded in 1845 as Nautilus Mutual Life and directly profited from slavery in its early years. Between 1846 and 48, the company wrote at least 485 life insurance policies on enslaved men, women, and children, with payouts going to slaveholders if the enslaved person died. This practice ended by the late 1840s. The company later acknowledged this history, describing it as a stain and pledging to support the black community. Other insurers of the era, including Aetna and US Life, engaged in similar practices. CSX Corporation, a US rail and real estate giant formed in 1980, traces its lineage to railroads built in the 1830s and 40s, including the Western and Atlantic Railroad and the South Carolina Canal and Railroad Company. These railroads used enslaved people to lay track, build tunnels, and perform other grueling construction. Rail lines were also central to the slave economy, transporting goods and enslaved people to markets and ports. In the early 2000s and again in 2020, lawsuits and shareholder proposals claimed CSX profited from infrastructure built with slave labor. CSX rejected these claims, arguing the company itself did not exist at the time. The New York Times is an American daily newspaper established in 1851. Back then, it published advertisements for the sale of enslaved people. These ads, placed by slave traders and plantation owners, were common in both northern and southern newspapers and provided a notable source of revenue for the paper at that time. The Times acknowledged this history in 2019. Wells Fargo, a major American financial services company founded in 1852, inherited ties to slavery through its 2008 acquisition of the company Wachovia. During a 2005 review of its history, Wachovia admitted that two of its predecessor banks, the Bank of Charleston and the Georgia Railroad and Banking Company, were directly involved in slavery. The Bank of Charleston accepted enslaved people as collateral for loans, while the Georgia Railroad and Banking Company not only engaged in the same practice but also owned at least 162 enslaved individuals. Its railroad division directly exploited enslaved labor to build tracks and infrastructure. In total, at least 529 enslaved people were used by these institutions. Wachovia issued a formal public apology acknowledging these connections. Wells Fargo carries this legacy.
Okay, so my reasoning for showing this video is we always, and a lot of people know about, the Jim Crow era, the different situations like that, but some people really did not know how embedded slavery, like how important it was to a lot of these institutions that we still I'll even say value, or we give our money to, or we utilize all the time. And this is just the icing on the cake. It's so many others. But I think that they were showing, these major ones because a lot of them were banks and they don't want to give any type of reparations. Everybody else got something but us. You understand what I'm saying? Native Americans got, they get a check. There are certain generations throughout certain generations get a check, and I know this. Some Asians were able to come and get housing in different situations, and just all type, like everybody have been able to benefit and get something to help get them on their feet, except those that are here, the elders, the ancestors, us here on this soil, that pretty much our elders and our ancestors, they were the ones that built it, but they weren't able to see any benefits from it, and was always in a fight to even just be free or to get the just due of what, they can get to help us, I should say.
Yeah.
And what's your thoughts on that, bro? That was the last clip. That was a little heavy because a lot of people don't know that about, some of those different things. And I want to, before I show my banner with some of the statistics and wrap up this conversation, I want to hear your thoughts on it.
Well, all the big brands have made a name, a name for themselves off the trademark and patent of our blood, sweat, and tears.
Mm-hmm.
Starting with that Jack Daniels. Uh, the guy that helped him, I forgot his name, but the black guy, that's the
Yeah.
real Jack Daniels. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? I'll put it like this. It's just like Norman Lear for all the top black shows in Hollywood.
Yep.
You know what I mean? That he doesn't get credit for. The guys that own the networks are the creators and writers of these shows
Yep.
that that partnered with Norman Lear to get those ideas and concepts and yada 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 that he wrote, and then they ran with it and cut him out. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And cutting him out is the slavery that slavery factor that they bring up with all these brands that used us,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm saying, for their gain, you know what I mean, for their capital gain, you know what I mean. And I mean, again, it's just like the judge. It's, you don't expect nothing more or less, you know what I mean? But now that we have the information that's out there, we can do our history on what we've invented. And the I mean, we have entertainment to show you, you know what I mean? But that isn't the depth of us. They try to make that the identity of us, but that is not the depth. You dig? Malcolm X told you with Dick Gregory and Lena Horne now, okay? But I ain't gonna try to disrespect. But anyway, but we're so much more than entertainment. So when we do this type of history, we see and we should believe our depth, because our depth is what they're standing on.
Mm-hmm.
You dig what I'm saying? Our depth of what that video entails about their creation of their brands and names is the depth of us on how they got created. You dig? They use us for the hard part and stand on that for the easy part on the surface, as if what you see and what you project and what you have in your crib, especially if you got that bar that you want to show off in your crib. Come down to my finished basement, check out my bar with this Jack Daniel that you
Right.
so proud of. That, you know, the history, if you actually know the history and the depth of that history, would you be as proud? Because you're not
Yeah.
drinking Jack Daniel's creation, the
Right.
man on that label. You dig? You're drinking the depth of who you are. You dig what I'm saying? Without knowing. You dig what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And you know, we, even though the alcohol is a poison, so to speak, the fact that this man make millions, billions, trillions, and gazillions off of it, the main consumer, especially when you involve entertainment that
Mm-hmm.
helps these brands and names to
Yeah.
sell their alcohol and what have you. You dig what I'm saying? And make you forget our depth of how it was created, so you can focus on Jay-Z and Puffy and the rest of them that got
Right.
these names on the alcohol that these whites take from them to label and patent and brand and use us to sell it for them
And
as if
then not
we own it.
right. And then not understand that our ancestors was the ones that's the reason why these major corporations got the money in the first place, because they owned slaves to be able
Exactly.
to, you see what I'm saying? It's all intertwined. And that's why when people say, like, when they say, what do you mean that you contributed to your ancestors contributed? What do you mean? They are America. Look at what they that just showed. If it was not for them, a lot of these major corporations that's been around since 1800s wouldn't exist today and keep reinventing themselves and keep making money over and over and over and over again. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? They did that because of a barter system, trading. They didn't even have to put no money down to get the bodies. You know what I'm saying? Free labor, period. And it's still happening, even with the Nestle thing, all of that. So, guys, this video was to show you, and you see, I put my auntie glasses on. This video was to show you guys what's going on, how it everything affects us, even if our allies and the people that's on the outside looking in don't see it. It's about planting seeds and really kind of like doing your research as well, but also showing people that's non-black that really say that they're allies, showing them what's really going on, and you see it for yourself. But we keep talking about what we want to segregate, and we want, we're better off without the powers that be and this, that, and the other. And unfortunately, I'm gonna say this: we are not. Okay, we are not. It's either two things. One, we try to dismantle this whole system and then rebuild it and restructure, or we really start to come together as a people and create another Tulsa and create these little cities and towns of and try to build wealth again. Now, the reason why I say what I said is because I'm gonna leave you with these statistics, or I should say the percentages of the black people that we have, black Americans, the percentages of who does what. And this is some of the people that we would need if we were to even create a whole new city. Okay? We need doctors, right? It's only 5 to 6% U.S. physicians were black in 2018. This is 2018. Okay? Nurses, RNs, LPNs, yeah, okay. 14%, 29%, okay.
We're pretty up there.
Yeah. Engineers of engineering and architecture, and I forgot to even put the farmers and the agriculture on there, but this is 5%, okay? 5%. Lawyers, 4 to 5%, and 4.5%, and this is in 2022. That wasn't even long ago. Architects, that's 2%, make up only 2%. Commercial real estate developers, that makes up less than 1% for large developers. 1%. Black and Hispanic developers make up 1%. Okay? Black workers are underrepresented in the construction workforce as a whole. But that is not about contractors, owners, rather employees. So this one is like also showing that we, even with the construction workforce, is at the bottom. Black women have historically been particularly underrepresented of all people who have served as federal judges. Fewer than 2% have been black women. Across all state Supreme Courts and high courts of the states, which includes D.C., only about 20% of seats are held by people of color, which includes Black, Latino, Asian, Native American, multiracial judges. That's crazy. Many states have no black justices on their highest state court. As of May 2024, there are 26 states with no black justices on their Supreme Court benches. So we understand we have some supernatural, spiritual, internal, creative talents, okay? And the majority of our people hold dear to those and make a lot of money and are very successful in doing so when it comes to displaying those internal talents, such as singing, dancing, all that good stuff. But it's time to start. If you have money, as I said on my last my video that I did, my transparency, if you have money or if you're somebody with major influence, now is the time to start going into these crowdfunding programs and helping a lot of these thriving black young children and adults, young adults that have dreams and that are very smart when it comes to coding, when it comes to being able to do things that we need in order for us to even try to build our own infrastructures. Okay, but right now I don't we not there yet, and hopefully in this generation I would love to see that at least starting, even if I can't see the ending. But it's time. If we say that's what we want to do, then we have to start coming together. We cannot continue the way that we're continuing as a people. That's all I got for that. But I'm gonna let you if you got something to say about it, I'm gonna let you go ahead and say what you got to say.
It reminds me of uh I mean, it was said to all of us, I'm pretty sure, in a situation where we had the opportunity to sit with or amongst the whites that were already privileged during the times of slavery, or minutely post-slavery, where I can even state in the Malcolm movie where he was in the back of the class where the teacher told him, you can be this, you can be that, you can be the yada, yada, but it was everything made working with his hands, not so his mind, and still putting him in his place by labeling him what we were labeled regardless, then telling him that's what you're still going to be that, but the N word, but you can, as an N word, I can't stand saying that. What N word are we talking? You dig? But anyway,
I love that you
um,
hate that word. I do too.
I,
Go
I,
ahead.
but um, no, but basically putting him in his place both physically and mentally, stating that again with Terrence Crawford, you can only get so high, but while you have that ceiling from the floor, you can do bop, 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 bop. You know what I'm saying? But when it comes to this here, you don't even consider it. Thus, the reason for those low percentages in the statistics of where we basically reign more so supreme. All you got to do is watch Hidden Figures. Okay, since you want to talk about
Yes.
black women, you dig,
Ooh.
and other little uh tidbits of knowledge on our history and where we basically are the flagship for every patent and trademark that you see out there that doesn't give us credit for
That's true.
those contributions of what they're standing on. You dig what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like I said, we're the foundation of it all. So I mean, again, it's already it's expected because all you're doing is speaking the reason for affirmative action that don't still obviously that don't work is just there. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? There's a title and a term. We know the meaning, but still the action hasn't
Yes.
been as affirmative, since you put the shit out. So, so
You better
I mean,
speak now.
it just, uh, these little I'm tired of seeing statistics because they can always vary. And the power lies with those that are in the position of power to change it where they can say affirmative action and then bring up the statistics when they want to. And guess what? That has a ceiling.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? So they can bring it back down whenever they want to. But even with all of that, the privilege still don't change for those that will hate on us for our little moment. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Your privilege still don't change, and all the history that you benefit from within that privilege still won't change. It gets bigger. You know what I mean? We just will have our little moment with that ceiling. You know what I mean? But the statistics will always go back to where we're put in our place, like in that movie Malcolm. You're this, you're that. and you can only be this, and you can only be that, and yada yada yada. Blah, 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 blah. Forget about being extra this. You're not that.
Yeah.
Don't even worry about that. That's not your lane. You're not smart enough. You're not, you know, I guess imperial enough or strong enough,
Right.
to be here, to be the architect, to be the top doctor, to be the top lawyer, to be the,
Yeah.
but
That's
it's funny,
social and
but
cultural conditioning.
you know what I'm saying? But it's funny though. Yeah, for not to be no top lawyer, one did die though. That was better than all of them in real
Mm-hmm.
time. So
Mm-hmm.
and put that as a statistic.
Say
But
it.
anyway, put that as a statistic. But we ain't gonna say nothing about that one though, even though this gonna be documented. But anyway, but still, I mean, George Washington Carver is all you have to say.
Say it. You know,
That's all you have to say, really. To sum everything up
listen,
about
and
that death that I was talking about, bring him up and then end it all.
listen, please, guys, if you haven't read that book, please read that book. Okay. That book, Malcolm X book, the autobiography of Malcolm X, and the autobiography of Assata, which is Assata.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
like
and happy birthday.
the spook who sat by the door. Okay.
Yep, a happy belated birthday to the legendary, great, beautiful, incomparable Asada, Miss Chesimard. You did on the real.
Rest in peace. Rest in peace. Okay. This was good. Yes, our first episode, season 2. We back in this mug. Hey, no. This is explosive. Did you hear those explosions? Remember last season, I couldn't even get the buttons right. Now I can get them right. Okay, that's not only one gunshot. Let me not do gunshots anyway.
Yeah, because we can flip, baby, now. But don't make us
know, right?
contradict ourselves. Don't make us contradict ourselves now. There we go, you know what I mean?
Yes, guys, this has been amazing. Thank you so much. We appreciate you, all the fellas out there, all the women that actually want to be a light to the men out there and help and do your part too. Thank you so much for joining. Bro, you got anything you want to say? The last of anything you want to say? You got you want to let them know? You want to promote anything? Shout anybody out real quick?
No, just shout everybody out, especially in the Black community. You know what I mean?
That's what's
Live,
up.
laugh, love. Live, laugh, love, peace, love, and mind elevation. You know what I mean? On the
That's
real.
what's up. All right, you heard it right here, and this how I'm gonna take us out. All right, love y'all and mean it. Y'all have a good one out there. Hey.
I still got a dream of a Martin Luther King. Them people trying to box us in like a boxing ring. What's the cure to hate? I wish I had the antidote. Maybe these words will help like Maya Angelou. Don't want you to be a leader, that's why they killed Hampton. They watching every move you make and they still camping. I need to go to the White House cause I need real answers. You hating on me cause I'm black, that's a real cancer. I just want to be great like I was Ali. Police clutching on their gun when they stop me. I got my hands up how I become a body. They hate Kaepernick, took a knee, this country toxic. We need to join together, then go make a protest. What about the reparation?